Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our Monday morning trading room. The beginning of another work week and an early work week. Daylight savings time. Do you complain about it as much as I do? Wow, it's brutal. Daylight savings time itself is not so bad, but I've never been a fan of double daylight savings time, which is now just referred to as daylight savings time. About 20 years or more ago, we used to roll the clocks ahead at the end of March, not around the beginning of March. And it wasn't quite a shock, as much of a shock to the system, because by the end of March, of course, daylight is earlier anyhow. You're waking up earlier anyhow. Oh well, I have very little to say about that. I guess I need to move to Arizona. I don't think they do daylight savings time in Arizona. I know they don't in Saskatchewan, but I don't really want to move to Saskatchewan. All right. Okay, and you folks from Saskatchewan, don't write me about my little Saskatchewan knock there. I'm from Alberta. I know exactly what you're talking about. All right, here's the daily chart. And you can see the market with a little bit of a bearish bent toward the end of last week as we take a bounce off of this 7,200 zone, which has held the market back, well, realistically, since last November. I know it got a little bit above here, but that's really where the market started pushing down. And if you wanted, you could even go back a month further and look at this swing high. I think what's significant about this, though, is we're starting to breach some small support points. This type of bar traders often refer to as a pin bar because I suppose it looks like a pin, and it tends to suggest very strong support or resistance, as the case may be. So there's your big obstacle to the downside. It looks like so far today we're off to a bit of a bullish start. After a slight recovery on Friday. Looks like for those of you who are very quick on the draw looking for your first in-sync eagle signal, it came right here on the opening buzzer with very good results. Personally, I'm not that much of a fan of early trades. I'm more the type who likes to see the market kind of set the tone, if you will. Is it going to be bullish? Is it going to be bearish? And then I'll trade accordingly. Yes, Mark agrees with me on the daylight savings time. He says, I think it's just stupid, something I think is antiquated and needs revision. Careful, Mark. We're getting to be antiquated ourselves. Your kids will show up and, hey, Dad. But yes, I agree. I think they should roll it back to where it was. Farmers get blamed a lot for daylight savings time. It's not the farmer's fault. You can blame Kaiser Wilhelm back from World War II. It was his idea. The sun was up, let's get killing each other. So he rolled the clocks ahead. Yeah, Mark says, but I revise daily. Good for you, buddy. You're one up on me. I'm a little bit more antiquated. All right. Are we going to call this a bull trend yet? I think maybe so. That's a very nice start to the day. Let's see where we are here on the Eagle relative to the overnight. So Friday session letting off here. The pre-market Sunday, or sorry, Friday, and then we just kind of kept going higher from there after a little bit of a dip. So yeah, I'm gonna call this a bull session here today. I think I'm gonna be a little bit more bullish. So now that the market may have established something resembling a trend, a pullback tends to be a good opportunity to try to get on board. Oh, and by the way, I got some very interesting comments about the fib session that we did last Friday. Some good input too. Some people giving me their 2 cents worth in a good way. Marcus suggesting that I need to be a little bit broader in my Fibonacci scope. He consulting an hourly chart. But hey, I'm going to take a look here at the move here out of the open. I know that's a little bit smaller probably than what Marcus would be recommending, but let me adjust. And so what I'm going to be most interested in, probably, I'm not going to even consider a 38% move, but a pullback maybe 50%, even down to the 62. And my lines are going to show up on the wrong side again. And we'll look at a 127, and I better put the 38% back. Did I do that right? There it is. And let's flip this bad boy around now. So the idea is that if we get a decent pullback, and that would be a pullback at least to the 50% level, although you can see visually the first retracement line lining up not too badly with our hard edge. But once we get the bigger pullback, that's sort of a cue, a trigger, if you will. And the 127 normally an easy target, but the appeal is if the market gets down here back to this 38% level, meaning there's been a big 62% retracement, we may just have an opportunity to buy a little bit earlier. And again, it coincides more or less with our hard edge. That's what makes these hard edge bounces, these red bar buys, so effective, I think. But we'll leave that on there for now. Wow, they just bulls are really putting the boots to the buyers out of the open here. Steven says, Ben Franklin invented daylight savings time here. Yeah, he probably did too. I've never really researched it. It does sound like something he would do. That darn Ben Franklin fella. Well, the Bollinger Suite getting very, very narrow, and as we know, that often leads to a big move. That traders, Bollinger traders, will refer to that as a squeeze, and will usually anticipate a move coming from that. Don't know if we're going to get a full-on reverse signal yet. We might get one here in the Raptor. Look, our band is up to 71 ticks. That's pretty big. If we get a little itty-bitty test of the extreme here, that might be a good excuse to try to short and take the market back here to the hard edge. There certainly is room to do that. Well, do we want to give that a go? The Eagle here has a warning dot. Oh, and it's quarter to the hour. All right, here we go with the Raptor. It's not really a number 2 signal, not yet anyways. I'm kind of basing this on the width of the trading band itself. And we do have a sell signal. I'll see if I can't take it just below the low of that current bar, the bar that's forming. It's a little bit of a second push type. All right, so I'll throw the order in. And you can see it's a modest target down here to the first hard edge. All right, here we go. So as your trading band gets very broad, certainly if your band counter gets up to around the, well, anything above 50 ticks really starts to get a little bit questionable. It You can be on the alert for a counter trend signal on the Raptor. That's going to be your number 2 signal. Or you could just look at a short signal as a selling opportunity. Likewise with the Eagle. But with the Eagle, you're probably not going to produce a sell signal. Probably the best you're going to do is a warning dot. Oh, baby. Okay, if this bar holds, we're going to see a proper test of the extreme now. That'll make it a little bit better for our selling attempt, but a very, very bullish reaction to that selling, and I don't think I'm going to be able to hold on. Oh, ouch. Spanked right out of the gate. Ooh, I don't like that. Well, at least the chart trader helped contain the risk amount. That's the good news. Counter trend trades. I tell ya. They bite me more often than not. What is it about those darn counter trend trades? I just can't leave them alone. Oh well. It's not a really deep hole that I dug, but it's no fun starting the day that way. All right. I think I'll avoid doing that again. And now it looks like they may actually follow through on that earlier attempt. Yeah, I think I may have gotten tagged just a little bit early on that. Well, they're still obviously bullish, but taking their time. Ooh, spoke too soon. You know, the tough part when a market is trending this well is not so much the direction, but the timing. And I think the best time to get into a trade is on a pullback when it's like this. Unfortunately, it means that you're kind of stuck on the sidelines for a while. Ah, Paul saying when he starts the day, he likes to place his fib levels on the high and low of the day or overnight. Ah, interesting. That's not a bad way to go either. All right, well, kind of in the holding pattern right now. Wow, they just won't let up. Well, the only surefire way to reverse this market is to try to buy into it. That will definitely send the market lower. And I hope the irony of that is not lost on you. Yeah, Frank says it works all the time. We don't even have a trading band that we could do. Like a range, I mean, sorry, a trading range. Yeah. Mark says it's even Friday today. Definite trend channel from today on through, though. Yes, sir. Even if you include Fridays, I think that's what you were getting at. Not so easy to see here. If I go back maybe to the daily, no, won't see it on the daily either. Maybe if we knock this down a bit to 5 minute. No, that's a little steep. So we're starting to go a little bit parabolic. That's what they call it when the trend line starts to curve. You know, normally your trend line is nice and straight. But when it starts to get curvy like this, because the market is picking up steam, they refer to that as a parabolic curve or a parabolic trend. Well, the buyers definitely in control here, and I think I got stuck on my hands. Okay, we got a little bit of a better top coming in. Now, this is always a judgment call, right? The band insanely wide again. It is a counter trend trade. It's a very strong uptrend. We do have a test of the extreme. The market should, air quotes around should, try to reverse somewhere in here through the hard edge. You could draw a trend line through here as well. Oh, it looks like if it heads lower, it is going to breach that trend line. Remember, though, when you breach trend lines, the other side will usually try to push back a little. All right. We'll see whether they give us a sell signal or not. The Bollinger is actually a little bit bearish. Okay, there's the pushback. Come on, where's the signal? You guys, you're killing me here this morning. Ah, there's the signal. Oh, do I dare? I got tagged the last time. Here we go again. Counter trend trade. All right, let's see. I'm going to swing for the fences here. Take it down to the support zone. Come on. They're holding on here, and I'm going to start getting a little bit more aggressive with my stops if I can get a bear bar to form on this current one. or maybe even not. See this bar here with the wick to it? I'm going to use that to cover the trade, and you know what? I'm going to use this current bar as well. I'm just not going to give them any more. Part of it is the fact that it's such a strong uptrend. Come on, down we go. All right, let's try to sneak this to break even now. Just playing with the fib levels here for a minute. Where would the retracement be? All right, so the 38% would be right here. Charles Dow's 33%, probably falling pretty close to the hard edge, 50% down here, which is a feasible retrace. And then, of course, the 62%, but break even looks like is all I'm going to get out of that. So we're into the first hard edge. The eagle's still bullish, the raptor's still bullish, the falcon, the hawk trying to turn over. Okay, here they come again. Oh, Paul. Paul says, have you guys rolled over yet? That's probably part of the problem going on here today. No, Paul, you're right. It's rollover time. Here's the handy dandy market analyzer, and you can see that June now overcoming the March contract. So I won't do it right now, but I will at the end of the session. Roll over into the June contract. All right, well, we got ourselves a better looking number 2 signal now. A little better test of the extreme. I'm hesitant because, of course, we're just kind of conflicted here, but somewhere through this morning's range, the market should try to head a little bit lower, I think. And this great big drawn out number 2 is probably a good reason. Ooh, spoke too soon. All right, you know what I'm going to do is we've got the market in a bit of a bind, so I'm going to throw the buy order in above here. Just going to park an order there. I'm going to park an order here. Because the market's conflicted, right? We're sideways. We know we're sideways. The trend is up, so there's a good chance the market will try to continue higher. But if it fails, well, this is where it's going to go next. It's going to go lower and take out these lows. All right, so we broke the high, or pardon me, this little swing high. Next stop, the current high, after which, well, we may as well put a profit order up here, which would be the next resistance zone. Oh dear. Okay, there's a little bit of a breakout. This now the retest. Come on. All right, here now the breakout from this little trading zone, the retest. Got to see the buyers pick it up here. Let's go, buyers. Give me one more bullish bar so I can roll my stops up. With a little more confidence, I could also just roll my stops up below this bar. All right. So we've got a couple of bull bars. I'm going to roll my stops in a little bit. All right, a retest now. So let's see what they got. It's disappointing, of course, because the move of the day came early, right out of the open, which is actually how Mondays used to be. Mondays used to be much more aggressive out of the open. Not getting much giddy up. Come on. No, the sideways drift has set in after the big rally up this morning. This could be, well, like I said, we at least now have a large sideways trading range. And my early buying attempts floundering because we are mid-range. Well, I've done better. So at least it seems my stops are in a reasonable spot. I could bracket the bottom end of the trading range. But honestly, I don't think I want to give up that much. Wow, we're only an hour in the session. It seems like we've been trading forever here this morning. trying to avoid doing anything silly can be a real challenge at times like this. Just when you think they're going to make some progress, they stagger again. Come on, maybe they'll get above the zone this time. Again, Bollinger's getting very, very constipated. There we go. That's more better. Phil's asking, Eric, what's that indicator on the bottom of your chart? Phil, that is the Bollinger Band suite. It's an indicator that we did on our Rabbit Hole Friday a few weeks back. And I was so impressed with it that I've kind of tacked it on the bottom of my my charts. The Bollinger Band Suite I find works especially well when you're trading in sync. So by that I mean, okay, here uh, the Raptor bars are or bands are obviously bullish, so I'm going to look for the Bollinger Suite to come in sync with that and use that to generate a or confirm a buy signal. So here you can see we're getting some follow-up buy signals on the Raptor, the Bollinger Suite now in sync, and we actually get some follow-through from that. You can use it to the counter trend side as well, as I attempted back here somewhere. The Bollingers were in sync to the short side, but again, counter trend trading always more difficult. But I think you'll do better to use it in sync. Like I say, okay, here you have a number one signal. You're wondering, is that number one signal going to be more reliable than not? Well, the Bollinger's just adding an extra layer of confirmation there. You can see back here with the number three signal, also the Bollinger's coming into sync. And here's actually an instance where the number two signal also in sync with the Bollinger's. So the Bollinger is highlighted here when your line gets above and starts to print green dots, it's bullish. When it gets below, starts to print red dots, it's bearish. Like I said, from our Rabbit Hole Friday, I guess it's about 3 weeks ago now, I liked it so much that, yeah, I just decided to put it on there. See, here now we have a number three signal, but the Bollinger's not in sync just yet, suggesting that, okay, maybe this isn't the right time to buy. And as a result, you can see the number three signal kind of giving us a little bit of a pushback now off of the hard edge, off of these highs. Now, I do believe that we have broken outside of this trading range. Yes, we have. So we could put our just in case order to buy up here, just in case the buyers get it going again. We are ready. If they fail at this point, there's a good chance they're going to try to take out the bottom end. Ideally, I like to see two bull bars before I put in a short position, but we may not get that. Okay, here, let's go back to the Raptor for just a moment, and we'll play with the Bollinger some more. So at this stage, the Bollinger is about to come outside of the bands to make them more bearish. We do have a number two signal here. We'll see if we get a little bit of a second push. Now, again, this is visually a number two signal. It's not printing as a number two, but that's what it is. We've got the high, we've got the retest, we've got now the short signal. Okay, and now the Bollinger's also outside. So let's see if I get an opportunity to short here. Oh, all right, so I'll take it below the low of this bar right here. This is going to be my reaction bar. And we'll stretch the profit target a little bit. And again, it's counter trend, it's risky. I'm going to get my exit order out of the way here for the moment. Actually, I don't need it, do I? Because I have my just in case order to buy right up here. If the market breaks down at this point, There's a very good chance it's going to try to recover to this low here. And if it breaches there, well, then there's a very good chance we're going to try to get down here to the secondary resistance line. Okay, now you can see the Bollinger's starting to neutralize again and perhaps even turn a little bit more bullish. Here we come with another hard edge bounce. Keith is asking, Eric, what are your settings for the Bollinger Bands? I've gone to a, well, here we got a moment. The default settings I found a little bit slow. So I went to a 10 period and a single standard deviation. I think by default it's 2 and 14. These were the settings for our Ninja 7 Bollinger Suite. I'm not sure why that got changed for Ninja 8. Ray says the Fed Chair Powell speaks at 8 p.m. Eastern. Core retail sales were positive. All right, so we breached the trend line a little bit, getting a little bit of a pushback. Okay, so they're trying to make a move to the upside still. Let's see if they can continue with that breakout. As they keep testing the top end of this trading range. Wow. Well, I do believe that we may have seen the move of the day, and in which case the market may just kind of drift sideways for the remainder of the session. That's not unusual. You know, sometimes those days like today where you just end up missing the move, you just got to recognize that, hey, I missed the move. I got there late. There's nothing you can do about it. I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's not the first time I've missed a move, and it surely won't be the last. All right. It may be a touch early, but I'm going to take this bar with its tail to it and roll my stops below there. Marty's asking, could you repeat those settings? Yeah, your standard Bollinger by default will be 2 standard deviations and normally over a 14 period, either a 10 or a 14, depending who did the programming. Traders like 14 periods because that's half of a lunar cycle. Uh, Lunar cycles, we can get into that perhaps on a Friday, on one of our rabbit hole Fridays. 10 is half of a monthly cycle. There's typically 20 trading days in a month. So you tend to see those two numbers come up a lot, 14 and 10. I find 14 will work just fine. Again, you know, going back to the whole idea of rabbit hole Fridays, the whole point of using an indicator is it's a tool. It's going to try to help keep you on the right side of the market. It is the objective of trading, however, is not to tweak the tool that you never produce another bad signal, because that's where the rabbit hole comes in. Typical standard deviation for Bollingers is a 2 period deviation. I find a 1 period a little bit more responsive. So my settings are a 10 period and a 1 standard deviation. We can do Bollinger's one Friday as well. Bollinger's, a very interesting tool. A lot of professionals seem to lean toward Bollinger's, and I get it because even though it's an indicator, it is anchored in price, meaning that the whole point of Bollinger's is try to filter out the choppiness, try to show you when price is truly advancing or declining, and when it's just bouncing around the norm. Some very interesting things have been done with Bollinger's. All right, well, we have reached our high probability profit objective, and if I were smart, I would take it. But there you go. We've only got a few minutes left in this morning session, so I think I'll try to stretch it out a little bit. All right, so this bar now with the tail, I will roll below that one right there. If I can get another bar or two, well, if, you know, for those of you who do measured moves, this was the move that got us here. That's where it could go if it's going to duplicate that move, which, you know, is probably not that realistic, but just out of curiosity, where does, oh, I didn't transpose that line. That line falls at 71.60-ish. Now we got a resistance line at 71.76. I think that might be a little bit out of reach. Slowly making some progress. All right, I'm going to roll my stops up a little bit more. We are getting closer to our eagle profit target, which would be a healthy little move, but it looks like I'm going to get tapped here on this hesitation if the market goes so much as a tick below 71.18. You know, it's funny. These big trending days, it's great if you get in early and hang on, but I find them oftentimes more difficult to trade than the days that just swing back and forth. Mark says, I find the swing days easier to trade as well. Seems to yield more trade opportunities, and I would have to agree with that. All right, gang. We'll close that up and put away the chart trader. And before we go, I'm going to roll into the June contract. I'm not sure. There may be an easier way to do this. I'm not sure I like the way Ninja does that now. If you link all your charts, you see this little red button that I clicked? You want to click the one that says instrument link, not the one that says interval link. If you sync one chart, like I changed the month on the one, all the other charts will come into line as well with that. So just a little shortcut versus having to go through and link them all manually. All right, gang. We'll do it all again tomorrow. I will see you then. If you're going to hang out here longer today, I do expect a little more pronounced pullback. I don't think we're going to see a big reversal. The market very, very bullish today. However, I think it will settle into a bit of a sideways trading range, which it will tend to do after a strong rally. So be careful. I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye for now.